We're involved with that, yeah. To that level, yes. Good morning. Welcome to First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the spirit and serve the community. I'm Reverend Michelle Yates. I use she, her pronouns, and leading worship with me today is Patty Goodwin, she, her worship associate, Michael Scott, providing tech support, Karen Labraco, our grusher, greeter, and usher in our online ministry team. Thank you so much. And today, our fabulous Dr. Brock Cheswold will not be with us. He went home to be with his family as his father is ill. And so we have a variety of our talented musicians from here at church who will be doing our musical pieces. So it's not what's in your order of service. If you are here with us for the first time this morning, we especially welcome you, online or in person. Thank you for making it and joining us in our worshiping community. We have a visitors form that can be found in the chat for our folks online and can be accessed by scanning the QR code in your pews on the back of your order of service. Please fill out this form so that we can offer you a welcome beyond this worship service. Also, an announcement, briefly.
Switch hats. Patty says to me, switch hats. So I'm Ann Rohde. I currently serve as the finance chair for this congregation, and I want to call your attention to the fact that our service auction is 5 weeks away. We are going back to our original format with some changes and some updates, but donation forms are available now in paper form and online. We hope you'll participate. See the information in the Clara Barton Lounge. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Before we take a moment to turn to our neighbor, let's take a moment to turn towards the camera and to greet our online worshiping community. Please offer a wave. Hello, and good morning. I imagine we might have a few more friends joining us in their jammies this morning than usual. If you're online, please pop into the chat to offer a greeting. And if you are here at First Universalist, let's take a moment to turn to our neighbor and greet each other. Hey, Catherine. Thank you so much for stepping in this.
I just thought it might have to where I didn't have some else in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm here.
It works. Yeah. Our opening and closing hymns today are uniquely seasonal, so we don't sing them often, but they are very singable and lovely. Please join us in our opening hymn, number 55, Dark of Winter.
Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of life eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me.
As I waited for my flight to go to Salt Lake City for Christmas with my family, I looked behind me and saw Bill and Becky Elwell. We were on the same flight to Atlanta. As we sat at the gate, Becky said she liked when I was worship associate because I was meaty. So here goes, Becky. Okay. I don't know if I have ever made a New Year's resolution. And if I have, I don't remember it. Maybe it's because there seems to be, to me, something counterintuitive about it. If I need to change, why not make it February 29th, or July 30th, November 1st, or any other day of the year? But there is something else that bothers me about it. When I hear someone tell me their resolution, I'm going to diet. I'm going to go work out more. I'm going to dress better, work harder. I'm going to ... fill in the blank. What I often hear is that that person does not feel good about themselves. So they feel they have to change. But are they changing for themselves or to fit someone else's image of how they think they should be? Change is something that happens. Sometimes we do it, but often it happens to us. So we are reacting. As I was listening to a recent talk show, the hosts were discussing the new year and change. They both agreed that they look forward to the new year not to change themselves, but to transform themselves. There's an interesting distinction between change and transformation. The concept of transformation is more encompassing than change because it is a positive, thoughtful action. Transformation only happens when we have the discipline to work at it. It is our discipline of learning that creates the transformation. The host talked about not going wide, but going deep. In essence, don't strive to do many things, but to do one thing well. Don't make it our goal to have many experiences, but to experience each thing deeply and fully. Sounds like our buddy Thoreau, doesn't it? Transformation is how we evolve as human beings, and how the transformation of all of us human beings can help us evolve as a society. Come, let us find the space to delve into worship together and be transformed. As Janice Mary lights her chalice at First Universalist Church, and you light a chalice in your own homes, will you join me in saying our chalice lighting words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirits, and may we reach out to serve our community. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in our affirmation of faith, followed by our doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall go into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue. We are blessed to have this wonderful sacred space. Why? Because others before us believed in transformation, believed in taking thoughtful action to make the world better by improving the human condition, believed that in transforming our ideals into action, we would transform individuals to make human society evolve. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received. To give, please scan the QR code on the back of the order of service, and offering baskets will come around as well. For folks online, please click the link in the chat. Your generosity matters to this community. Thank you.
Our story today is one that I've wanted to bring into worship for a while. I have a bunch of these in my pocket that I'm just waiting for them to fit. It's called We Move Together by Kelly Fritsch, Anne McGuire, and Eduardo de Tuejos. And the illustrator actually drew himself and the other two authors into the book and their children, which is really cool. I wanted to start with a quote that they start the book with. It's a quote from Aurora Levins Morales and Patty Byrne. All bodies are unique and essential. All bodies are whole, as they are. All bodies have strengths and needs that must be met. We are powerful, not despite the complexities of our bodies, but because of them. We move together with no body left behind. This is disability justice. We move fast. We move slow. We move together. Sometimes we have to wait for each other. Waiting can feel boring, frustrating, hard. Waiting can also feel exciting, like butterflies, like love. So we wait so we can spend time together. Sometimes when we're together, we get stopped in our tracks. Like when all the fun and flavors of ice cream are just one step out of reach. If you can't tell there where the cat is sitting, there is a step up into the ice cream shop. And the woman who uses a scooter can't get in. We notice when things are unfair, and it helps us get creative. We make plans. We solve problems. And there is a whole team there of wheel users for accessibility, building ramps. And here we see 4 ramps added to the main street. We build something better. We work together, kids and dogs, bodies and machines, bees and flowers, fish and water. Relying on each other helps us get where we need to go. Sometimes we find ourselves in unfamiliar places. We wonder. We get curious. And now here you'll notice this is actually the illustrator and a depiction of his son. And he is noticing a group that is signing together to communicate. And here he is in a library with friends learning about signing. We might have more questions than answers. Our questions can help us learn to do things differently. And here they are at the grocery store meeting people who sign and discover new ways of understanding each other. For the things that connect us are also what nourish us, like roots and tubes and straws and friends. And these things that connect us are often what challenge us. Sometimes we disagree about how to be together. Solving one problem can create another, and we don't always know how to make things better. Now, here in the middle the kids have two different signs. One is skip the straw, save the planet, and the other one says straws are access, because for some people, straws are needed in order to get nourishment and nutrition. So it's a struggle. Sometimes we need to take a break. Even when we're by ourselves, we never move alone. Like feeling so close with someone who's far, like learning from others who have come before. Their memories can ground us, soothe us, move us. Whether we're by ourselves or surrounded by many, our small movements can turn into big movements. We celebrate, we make change. The signs say, we're in this together. Access is love. Nothing about us without us. We move together. I think the important thing that I take from the story is for much as they're talking about physically moving, they're also talking about progress and justice, that we move fast, we move slow, but in essence, we must move together. That the speed of justice is as slow as the last of us, because we're not there until we all get there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oops. I invite you into this reverent time of sharing the joys and sorrows of our gathered community. If you would like to, you can place your hand over your heart to be able to listen from a heart-centered place. As we place stones into a bowl, I will read aloud the joys and sorrows of our gathered community, and the folks online are also invited to share their joys and sorrows in the chat. Today we have a sorrow shared by Richard Reed, one of the original founders of the community food cupboard of Rochester, the one on Nestor Street, which we support each month when we collect food on second Sundays. Ellen Kimbrough has died. Ellen's memorial is this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. at Reformation Lutheran Church on St. Paul Boulevard by Cooper Road. And we drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all the joys and sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. In this time where we are about to end our 2-month worship theme on rest, and about to start a 2-month worship theme on staying soft during a time of frozenness, I wanted to offer you a meditation exercise, which I have made from a combination of the 5-finger prayer that I learned from my United Methodist colleagues, where they say a prayer or send love to 5 different people or groups of people, and a compassion exercise that I learned from the Avatar program. So I invite you to settle yourself in, settle your breathing, take a breath, find a comfortable position on your seat, maybe with both feet on the ground. I invite you to press your hands together in a prayer position. With each finger, we will focus on a different person or group while going through the compassion exercise. We'll start with the thumb to think of ourselves, then the index finger for our go-to people. If you're in trouble, who do you go to? Your middle finger for a person or group that you have some conflict or anger with. Your ring finger for a person or group that you are committed to. And for your pinky finger, the wider world or community. This could be your family, this congregation, city, state, country, world. So starting with attention on yourself, repeat after me, at least in your mind, but if it helps to say it out loud, you certainly may. Just like everyone else, I am seeking some happiness in my life. I am seeking some happiness in my life. Just like everyone else, I am trying to avoid suffering in my life. Just like everyone else, I am trying to avoid suffering in my life. Just like everyone else, I have known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like everyone else, I have known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like everyone else, I am seeking to fulfill my needs. Just like everyone else, I am seeking to fulfill my needs. Just like everyone else, I am learning about life. Just like everyone else, I am learning about life. Now with a focus perhaps on your index finger and your go-to person or people. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for their life. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, this person is learning about life. Just like me, this person is trying to learn life. And with your focus on your middle finger or someone or a group that you have conflict with, this is perhaps the hardest and most important. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness in their life. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness in their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. And just like me, this person is learning about life. with your attention on your ring finger or a person or group that you are committed to. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for their life. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness in their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, this person is learning about life. And finally, with our focus on our pinky finger or the wider world or community. Just like me, these people are seeking some happiness for their life. Just like me, these people are seeking some happiness for their life. Just like me, these people are trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, these people are trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, these people have known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, these people have known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, these people are seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, these people are seeking to fulfill their needs. And just like me, these people are learning about life. Just like me, these people are learning about life. Let us enter into the quiet. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Our hymn of contemplation is There Is a Love, lyrics by Rebecca Parker and arranged by Elizabeth Norton.
Holding me, there is a love holding all that I love. There is a
Bodies are weird. I say this a lot, especially to my kids, when they're like, this hurts, this feels weird. It was fine before, and now it hurts, and now it's fine again. My body smells, my body makes noise, his body smells, her body makes noise. Bodies are weird. And they are amazing, beautiful miracles of evolution. The fact that our systems work and that we exist at all just blows the minds of the most advanced scientists in all of their fields. Just the fact that it happened at all, the chances of it happening. And still, they're quirky. They're imperfect. Our DNA gets it wrong sometimes. We have viruses and maladies and genetic wackiness. Sometimes our body grows things in places that we would rather it not, and there's no reason, it seems. And sometimes these things are inconvenient, and sometimes they are painful, and sometimes they kill us. And yet, these weird bodies are still amazing, beautiful miracles of evolution. I love and am deeply motivated in my theology by the words of Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who was a Jesuit priest. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having this human experience. And if we didn't have our bodies, how would we experience anything in this reality, this moment at all? To be able to smell and touch and see and interact and have relationships. It's just amazing. This summer, I should say, so if you don't know, I'm contracted from September to June. And I'm off for July and August, which works really well because I have children. And it tends to be a great time that I can engage with them and not have to worry about childcare and to be extra restorative. But this summer was not the restorative experience that I'm used to or that I aim for, because my body started doing some weird stuff. I have been humbled and become much more grateful and appreciative and aware of what it means to live with chronic pain or disability that includes levels of struggle or discomfort or annoyance or just a challenge every single day. I came out of this with a diagnosis of fibromyalgia and more advanced stage 4 endometriosis. And I have to say that some of the worst pains I've experienced in my life would be childbirth, kidney stones, IBS, and endometriosis, which I'm now finding those last two might be intersected for me. And just so it's out there and we don't get scared at the last minute, in March or April, I am anticipating being off for a week or two for an excision surgery, which hopefully will relieve a bit of pain. Now, the family values or work ethic that I inherited meant that, and it's interesting when you look back and then you're not proud necessarily, that my family was quick to point out when someone was lazy or making excuses or not getting the job done, not putting in their fair share of the work. And of course, I appreciate also that this is based on a system where if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't get out there and do the work in the fields, the food won't come. In a time when there was no miracle of charity or social security, it's a gamble, that if you don't push yourself, even if your body says no, You might not have a body left to come home to. But as some of us know, when you push yourself beyond the bounds of what you can do, you then have to recover. And of course, it is in that system that we also saw people who were worked to death or worked themselves to death. I want to acknowledge that words such as disability or neurodivergence can be difficult for some, and no one word can capture the full extent of a human lived experience. As we continue to expand our understanding and compassion, I imagine that our vocabulary will continue to grow. I don't expect we'll ever get it completely right, but that's what it means to be human. If you have experienced or know someone who struggles with chronic pain from illness, injury, age, or other disabilities that involve pain or an element of struggle, it can involve being exhausted, irritable, having trouble focusing, and other related challenges. I would find, as I started this church year, that I would be doing fine, and then I would be a little uncomfortable, and then a little more uncomfortable. And I didn't think to do anything else other than push through, and then it would get so bad that I would be toast for the rest of the day. I couldn't think, I couldn't do anything but try to take care of my body. But I had realized that it was too late, and I'll get into that more, rather than seeing when I had a need and taking care of it early. I'll talk more. The words for my sermon title today come from a play on the Our Father, where it says, "Give us this day our daily bread," or in some translations, "Give us the bread that we need for today." It was a reflection on that we don't need to amass too much, just what we need. To recognize that there's a certain level of need that we have each day, and we pray that we will get what we need to fill that, whether it's food or rest or care. An idea that's different, that we need bread first before we work. We can't work first, often, on an empty stomach, and then get bread later. And it's an interesting idea of what comes first, bread or then work, or work then bread. It reminds me of the struggle that we have with houselessness, of you have to be sober to be in this institution, but how will I get sober if I don't have housing? Which comes first? I grew up in the Catholic Church with this quote from St. Francis de Sales. He says, "Every one of us needs a half an hour of prayer each day, except when we are busy. Then we need a full hour." But I had heard it as like it was an interview, like, "Oh, you pray for an hour each day. Well, what do you do if you're like really busy that day and it's a really hard struggle of a day?" "Well, then I'd pray for 2 hours." And I'm like, that doesn't math. That doesn't work out in my calendar. How do you do that? And St. Francis de Sales was focusing on prayer as a source of strength that was needed for the day. Like, I first have to build up my strength reserves before I go and do all of these things. And I've come to relate to it with a sense of what we need for rest or self-care. And for me, it often means my physical therapy exercises that I have to do daily to keep things moving. Some people come to realize they need to do these stretches or levels of movement before they can even start the day. I know friends who have arthritis who they have to like break through things and get things moving before they can get moving. And if they try to do otherwise, it's just not going to work. And so it's like exercise, how you need to do a warm-up so you don't sprain things, and how you need to do a cool-down so that you don't mess things up. Kind of like getting gas when the warning light comes on rather than waiting until you stall out. Or eating at regular intervals through the day rather than waiting until you're hangry. don't wait until it's too late. And what is the cost of not giving yourself the care that you need? And in that way, I think about now, when I start to feel pain or discomfort, I know, okay, it's time to take my 20, 30 minutes to do my exercises and stretches. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't have time for that now. But if I don't take that 20, 30 minutes then, it's going to shut me down for 3+ hours later. It's one of the, which is it? And in some ways, yes, it's an investment of time now, but it also means that you're going to get more ability later. And so we need it. One of the things I've learned about and talked a bit about since the pandemic is the difference between rest, decompression, and restoration or resilience building. So we do need a level of decompression to relieve some stress, some Netflix and chill, but that won't do it all. You won't refill your cup binge watching a show. It's fun, but it won't replenish you. It won't refill your cup or give you energy for the new day. It won't inspire you, usually. Some shows are really good, but. And that idea of resilience building, of noting the time that you need to put into yourself to refill your cup. And often when we think about rest, it's specifically about taking breaks or sleep. Now, in the worship theme packet that we had for the last 2 months, you can ask me, I can send it out again. We should probably get a link on our website. It has a link to a TED Talk from Atlanta called The Real Reason We're Tired and What to Do About It by Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. And she identifies why sleep and different kinds of rest are both necessary. She identifies 7 types of rest our bodies need and calls rest the most safe and effective alternative therapy available to us. So as I go through these different kinds of rest, I want you to just take a minute and think about what kind of rest you might be needing that you didn't connect. Like, oh yeah, it's that. Well, obviously there's the physical kind of rest and re-strengthening. Then there's mental, spiritual, emotional, social, sensory, and creative. So I try and think of ways like the social, how for some people, how do you refill your cup? Sometimes it means time alone. Sometimes it means time with good friends, good people. For sensory, sometimes we've just had too much. You're feeling overwhelmed and we need some time in the dark. Sometimes we need a different kind of sensory experience. Maybe if you work at a computer all day, you need time to move your body and smell fresh air and get out and experience different things. For creative energy, you might need to be inspired. You might need to look at pictures or visit places that are beautiful. How can you surround yourself by beauty and to put that beauty back into you? For spiritual, mental, emotional, I think about especially how through the pandemic, how everyone felt completely drained, and how I recognize when we're out of spoons, like I'm out of spoons for the day, I got nothing else. How do we replenish those spoons for ourselves? And we can't just wait for it to happen. How do we feed ourselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally? And to make note of things that we do that fill that cup up for us so that we can be restorative. We can use that rest time to the best of our abilities. And yet, still, I am tempted to push myself. I want freedom. I want to do what I want to do. I want to do what everyone else is doing. I don't want to make excuses or feel shamed because I can't function like I used to, or like what I think is normal or expected. I don't want to be defined by my limitations. And there certainly is a grief component with abilities lost. And that's what brings me to disability theology. Now, in this context, a disability is seen as a difference that puts you, whether it's physical, mental, neurological, that puts you on the margins. Like, because of this level at which you function, or your ability, that's not where everyone else is supposed to be at. But in many ways, I think about, which is almost everyone as it relates to something, but it just depends on how challenging it is and how deeply it affects your life. One of the primary theologians for disability theology talks about John 9 in the New Testament of the Bible, of the Christian Bible, where Jesus and his disciples are walking by a blind man. And the disciples ask Jesus, why is he blind? And the disciples go through what you hear from the prosperity gospel, which is incredibly unhealthy and unfortunately a huge part of evangelical Christian tradition. Well, he must have done something wrong. He is being punished. He doesn't have enough faith in God. If he did, he'd be able to see. Or maybe his parents did something wrong. This has been part of theology related to disability, and it is sick, and it is unhealthy, and that is not our faith tradition. Now, in this verse, the disciples are wondering and questioning, and Jesus tells them, no. He is like this. And the words are a little tricky, to give glory to God in his way. And many people had interpreted this as, well, God made him blind so that his struggle would bring him to a new and different place, and he'd be transformed through pain. But this disability theologian goes, no. To show that no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what your ability, you are loved, you are whole, that God made a grand diversity of people and abilities to give us the opportunity to see worth and gifts in many different shapes and forms. Now, if you're not a theist, that's okay here, but the idea of evolution, giving us gifts and opportunities, sometimes that quirkiness of one brain made it come up with a new idea that no one else would have ever thought of. One person who has a quirky genetic condition, suddenly means that they are resistant to this virus that has been killing people for years. That evolution gives us gifts as much as it gives us challenges. And to be able to see all people in our Universalist lens as loved, divine, having gifts to share with the world, if only they have the opportunity and accessibility to do so, that we all have inherent worth and dignity. But systems like capitalism that view or value people as production units rather than whole beings comes right against this and makes it countercultural. Luckily, I have financial resources to have insurance and medical care. I have doctors who believe me and who help me to pursue answers. I have family and an amazing employer that support me in making it work, in recognizing that this is the work and this is what I need to get it done, and that I can space out what I need to do to take care of myself and to still use my gifts to take care of you. So what do we do? I think the most important thing is that we talk about it, because for so long we're like, don't look at a disabled person. Don't talk about it. Don't bring attention to it. Obviously, we don't want to be invasive into someone's personal space, but we need to talk about, do we have systems? Is it easy enough for someone to approach their employer and say, I need to be able to start a little later because I need an extra hour in the morning to get my back working. My sister is incredibly lucky with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's that her employer understands where she has to clock out for a time, and when she can, she clocks back in. That is practically unheard of in corporate America, and for insurance company no less. To share ideas and techniques, to have it be part of the normal routine for an employer or human resources, to find ways to make it work for people who function at different levels. And so that it means that they don't have to rely on, as in the Bible, sitting on the side of the road and asking for money because they can't do things exactly like the capitalist system asks us to. So we advocate for ourselves and for each other. We ask and we support. I think about that equality meme where it has 3 people of different heights, short, medium, large. It's like, oh yeah, equality means they all get a box to stand on. Well, that doesn't fix anything. Whereas the tall person can see over the fence, the medium person only needs 1 box to step over the fence, but the short person needs 2 boxes to see over the fence. So equality doesn't mean we all get the same resources. It means we all get the resources we need to be able to participate as equal members of society and to be able to share our gifts. Unfortunately, too often we have this idea that if I have to invest this much into you, then whatever I'm getting out of you really isn't that worth it. It doesn't balance out. But who are we missing out on? What amazing ideas and contributions are we missing by not giving people a chance to be at their best? Our closing hymn today, and I also think it's important to protect your restoration time, your Sabbath, whatever it is that you find out that you need to refill your cup, to protect that time. Because sometimes you can push through without it, and sometimes you can't. And you'll continue to deplete your well again and again. Our closing hymn today talks about the new year, and it actually was part of the inspiration for the commissioned piece that the RPO kicked off their season with this year. It's also called Wild Bells. And it's a vision for doing better together, of wanting more for ourselves and this world. And I think about, instead of a resolution, if we have just that word that people use to go into the new year, what if it was restoration? To restore ourselves daily to wholeness, to our best selves, to do what we can to support restoration in our families and communities and world in ways that inspire us rather than deplete us. What does it look like to restore and care for our bodies as they are, for our relationships and systems in ways that rebuild trust? And to do it with love and the heart of universalism and disability liberation theology, that all are whole, loved, and worthy, that all have gifts to share with this world if given the opportunity. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Our final hymn is number 58, Ring Out Wild Bells. Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame this morning and read together the words printed on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. Friends, as we close our service this morning, I invite you to place a hand over your heart. If you're joining us online, I invite you to turn your settings to gallery view and look upon the faces of those here with you. For those of us in the room, take a moment to look around at those here with you today. Nature or the divine has brought forth a vast diversity of weird, amazing, beautiful, miraculous, quirky bodies. Know that you are loved, and go and be that love to the world. Amen.
Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to weed, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. For to everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn. A time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. For to everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. For to everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time of love, a time to hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. For to everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven.